Hello, welcome to the Villages, Florida. My name is David. I'm a realtor with Florida Realty Investments, and this is your up to date look at what's happening in the real estate market this week in the Villages, Florida. For those unaware, the Villages is a 55 plus community. We have entertainment, recreation, shopping, dining, more social clubs than you can count, and live music at 4 town squares every night of the year. If you want to know what's happening with prices here, what the long term trends are, what the most recent activity is, this is the show for you. I'll show you the differences between the different geographical regions of the villages. I'll describe where there's activity and at what price. A couple of things to note. The villages has two distinct real estate marketplaces, the MLS and the VLS. The VLS is the marketplace maintained by the villages. It has pre-owned homes, and it is the only marketplace on which you'll find new homes. But pre-owned homes are also found on the MLS. If you're looking to buy a pre-owned home, you really need to see properties both on MLS and VLS. If you only look on the VLS or you only look on the MLS, you'll be only seeing about half of the properties available for sale. All of this information is drawn from the MLS, and we produce this show every Monday. Make sure you check the date of the show to ensure you're getting the most recent information. If you find this information valuable, please reach out to me at DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. I'll be happy to help you. Also, I would appreciate it if you would like the video, and even better, subscribe to the channel. We'll make sure that you're notified whenever we have new information up. If you're a buyer and you're trying to find a good deal, or you're a seller trying to maximize your return, please reach out to me, DavidisinFlorida.com, DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. Be happy to answer any questions you have. Let's take a look now at what's happening this week. We start every week by taking a look at what's happening with interest rates. This is the yield on the US 10-year note. The mortgage market, 30-year mortgage, most closely tracks this rate. And you can see back in mid 2020, the yield on the 10-year note was about 1/2 of 1%. It's almost 10 times higher now. We're back over 4%. 30-year mortgages are probably going to be exceeding 7% soon. And looking at this graph, it seems evident that the risk of higher rates is very much in play. The reason why I discuss interest rates is because most real estate is financed, and the level of interest rates are eventually going to have an effect on prices. Now, let's take a look at what's happening to the real estate market in the villages this week. I'm going to start by looking at listings. We'll also take a look at homes going pending and sales. But looking at listings, we'll start with total listings, which this week number 704. This is the highest number we've ever seen in the villages. And it's noteworthy that this is 7 times higher than the level of inventory when we started doing the show about 3 years ago. Here we look at the median time on the market for all listings. This week, 52 days. It has dropped for most of this year, but it's worth noting that because the number of new listings has increased so dramatically, the number of days on the market has obviously not kept pace with listings, because the new listings are coming on the market with 0 days on the market. This is the median list price per square foot for all listings on the MLS this week, 255.27. We're bumping along just barely above the lowest levels that we've seen, lowest levels being 255.10. We are barely above it and have barely been above it for a couple of weeks now. We'll have to wait to see what happens, but it certainly appears as if the trend remains downward. I've divided the villages into 4 geographic regions so that you can get a sense of where activity is taking place and at what prices. But before we do that, let me zoom in on the villages and show you the mapping that we're using. These maps are showing you all active listings on the MLS as of this week. The size of the circle denotes the size of the property, and the color denotes its price per square foot. The larger the circle, the larger the home. The brighter the circle, the more expensive per square foot. The 4 areas of the villages are as follows. First area is the area I'm calling the north. This is everything south of Highway 42 and north of Highway 466. This area comprises the older part of the villages, but the southern part of this area is just north of Lake Sumter, which is still one of the prime locations for social activities here. This week, 290 active listings in the north. Once again, size of the circle, size of the home. The brighter the circle, the more expensive per square foot. The second area is the area I'm referring to as the Mid-North. I'm going to give you a lot of detail as to the differences between them. You'll see facts and figures, but for now, let me just orient you geographically. The Mid-North between Highway 466 and Highway 466A. This week, 208 active listings. This area includes Lake Sumter Town Square. The third area is the Mid-South. This is the area south of 466A and north of Highway 44. This week, 84 active listings in this area. We're getting into the newer part of the villages now. The villages originally began in the north and has been spreading south ever since. And the final area is the south. This is the newest part of the villages. This includes everything south of Highway 44. You can see the villages spreading down to the southeast towards Orlando. We're not used to seeing this many listings in the south. We're currently seeing almost as many in the south as in the other regions. So now let's dive into the differences between the regions. First, let me start by looking at the villages as a whole. You can see the total number of listings this week, 704. Smallest available home currently on the MLS, 810 square feet. Largest, 3,620 with a median of 1,505. Prices currently range from 125,000 to 1,400,000, with 375,000 being the median. On a per foot basis, prices range from 121 a foot to 506 a foot, with 255 the median. Now let me show you how the different areas of the villages compare. This is the same information I just showed you for the entirety of the villages, but now we're looking at the regions separately. You can see how many listings in each of the locations. You can see the sizes of the homes, smallest, largest, and median size. Similarly with prices, least expensive, most expensive, and median price. And you can see the per foot pricing, minimum, maximum, and median for each of the four regions. Here's another look at the differences between the four regions. We're looking at what year the homes were built that are for sale in each of the regions. You can see the entirety of the villages on the right. You can see the north, middle south, and south to the left. Thanks to a YouTube viewer who pointed out that making the axes consistent might illustrate the point more clearly. But you can see that in the north, construction ceased around 2000. The Middle North was built out between 2000 and 2010, Middle South between 2010 and 2020, and in the South, construction really only began around 2020. Here's a quick summary of the activity in the four regions. You can see the North, Mid-South, and South. You can see how many homes this week are active, how many went pending over the last 60 days, and how many sold over the last 60 days. When I look at data on pending home sales and homes that sold, I do look at the prior 7 days, the last week. But on this graphic and on some others, I will point out that it does encompass the last 60 days. So what you're looking at are active, pending, and sold. If the number is an increase from the previous week, it's highlighted in green. If it's a decrease, it's highlighted in red. Otherwise, it's uncolored. Now let's look at what changed over the last week. This is new listings over the last 7 days and homes going pending over the last 7 days. The graph is smoothed to a 4-week average, but we are looking at 7-day chunks. The number of new listings exceeded homes going pending by 15. That is the 4-week average. And on this graph, the new listings are the red line and homes going pending the blue line. The divergence at the end is concerning. It shows new listings increasing and homes going pending decreasing, not conducive to higher prices. Here we're looking at the actual data points. This is not smooth. We're looking at the difference between new listings and pending home sales. Once again, this is pending home sales over the last 7 days and new listings over the last 7 days. 22 more new listings than homes going pending. It's apparent looking at this graph that readings below -20 are unusual, or at least they were in the past, but we've seen many readings close to a -20 this year, which is already unusual. We'll take a closer look at the homes going pending over the last 7 days. The graph is a smooth 4-week average, but we are looking at prior 7 days activity. 39 days is the median time on the market for the homes that went pending over the last 7 days. Definitely an improvement, and you'll see that when you look at sales, that this does represent probably the best part of the selling season here in the villages in terms of activity. This is the median price per square foot for the homes that went pending over the last 7 days, 251.98. It is down from last week, and one hopes that we are able to remain above 250 a foot. I think it's an important psychological number, and the listings and pending home sales hovering around this number give one hope that perhaps we've seen the worst of it, but with interest rates poised to move higher, that seems unlikely. We're still looking at the homes going pending over the last 7 days, and we're looking at how much pressure sellers are feeling, i.e., how much have they reduced the price at which the home went pending from the original asking price. This week, a slight improvement, only a 5.72% median decrease from the original listing price, but still, this is elevated compared to prior periods, especially with homes entering the market now at more realistic prices. Now we'll look at the homes that closed over the last 7 days. The graph is a 4-week average, as is the number you see there. 43 sales is the average over the last 4 weeks. We are certainly at the highs that we've seen traditionally. If you look at the graph, you can see that the period January through April is probably when we're most active here. I would expect the number of sales to decline through the rest of the year, as is our normal seasonal pattern. Talking about seasonal patterns, this is what it looks like. I'm going to start with the raw data. Here we're looking at number of sales per week. 30 is the actual data point for the last 7 days. The dark blue line is 2022, the light green line 2023, the red line 2024, and the light blue line 2025. We are following normal historical patterns in terms of level of activity, but since the number of listings is about 75% higher than it was last year, having the same level of sales is obviously not going to solve the inventory problem here. This is the same data, but this is smooth. We're looking at a 4-week average here. And you can see, as I pointed out, that sales activity this year is about equal to where it was last year. But as I pointed out a moment ago, the number of listings is about 75% higher than it was a year ago. You can see, looking at this graph, that seasonally we would expect sales to decline gradually through most of the rest of this year. Here we're looking at weeks of inventory. This week, 16.44 months worth of inventory. It's very unusual for us to see levels close to 20 weeks of inventory. Looking at this graph, it appears as if 4 months of inventory might be where we will remain for a while. We're continuing to look at the homes that closed over the last 7 days. We're looking at how long they were on the market before going pending, a median 34 days. This is worse than the level of last week, even though it's been improving dramatically this year. As I keep pointing out, we're heading into a slower period. I would expect this number to increase again. Still looking at the homes that closed over the last 7 days, even though we're now looking at a 4-week average of the median price per square foot at which those homes closed, 245.50 the number. We're having difficulty getting any kind of traction higher than 245 a foot. Keep in mind that even though this show focuses on price per square foot as a metric, the price per square foot measure does not take into account many of the amenities that are so valuable here in the villages, things such as location, view, privacy especially, and other factors that just looking at the numbers don't capture. Couple more looks at the entirety of listings. Here we're looking at what prices homes are available at in the different regions of the villages. You can see the villages as a whole on the right, and the north, middle south, and south to the left. I have equalized the x-axis on all of these so that the differences are more apparent. But as you can see, the north, there are mainly homes for sale between 300,000 and 400,000. Whereas in the middle north, that level seems to be centered around 400,000. This may help you decide what price range you should be looking at. We're looking at what the price per square foot is for different price buckets here in the villages. So for example, in the sub $200,000 range, there are 16 active listings ranging in price per square foot from 121 to 195 per foot, with 168 being the median. The most active price segment, the $200,000 to $400,000 range, 401 properties available for sale, $134 a square foot being the least expensive, $332 the most expensive, and $244 the median. It certainly is a wake-up call seeing the number of homes available between 2 and 400,000 exceed 400 homes this week. We're still looking at all listings, and we're looking now at what percentage of listings have reduced their asking price from the original list price. 59.08%. We are below 60%, but it's worth noting as we look at this graph that the percentage of listings with price reductions was less than 50% earlier this year. And this is the actual reduction from the original list price, the median reduction, that is 4.74%, the median reduction. It seems that even with the number of new listings coming on the market at more realistic prices, we're still seeing villages having to reduce their asking prices to get deals to close here. If you're a buyer and you're trying to find a good deal here in the villages, or you're a seller trying to maximize your return, please reach out to me at DavidisinFlorida.com or DavidisinFlorida@gmail.com. Be happy to help you research properties or answer any questions you have. And once again, if you found this information valuable, please consider liking the video, or even better, subscribing. We really appreciate it, and it helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Once again, any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me. I hope to hear from you. Take care.